think in the journey, I wouldn't change anything because you've gained from meeting amazing friends, connecting with people and networking in our community here, to, having and meeting colleagues in Sydney and Melbourne that you connect with. The journey's been pretty incredible.
Welcome to another episode of The Journey, thanks to BMG Partners. My name is Matt Griffith, and my guest today is Sharyn Hill from the Sharyn Hill School of Performing Arts and Creative Expression. Sharyn, hello.
Good morning, Matt. It's lovely to be here.
Yeah, terrific to meet you, and we've got an extensive journey to go through today, which I'm very much looking forward to. But let's kick it off as we do every time with The Journey, and that is a discussion of your background and connection to our region. So with Albury Wodonga now, your school has been running here for 40 years, and We'll get to that coming up very soon because it is the anniversary year. But what about yourself personally?
I was born in Albury, so I've lived here all my life, and I went away to study professionally my teaching and then come back to the area. And I think because family connection, my mum grew up in Colcan on property. My dad was here in Albury Wodonga, and his mum and dad had a little fruit and veg shop in Dean Street. So it just goes back over time. On my dad's side with the Murray, so there was people in our community that I just feel like your roots are here, and it's a beautiful region to live in and bring up a family as well. So my connection is really as being born here, wanting to stay here, and then go on and work in the area as well.
Yes, yeah. So whereabouts did you go to school?
It was St Bridget's back then, so St Bridget's, which is now St Patrick's Primary School, and on to St Joseph's Ladies College, which is now Xavier High School. Yeah. So, and from there, obviously went off to study teaching, but with a focus on drama. That was my love and passion.
Yeah. So when did you start to fall in love with the arts and drama? Was it in primary school?
My mum has had a big influence on that because I was a very shy, quiet girl, and I think she thought, well, we'll put you into ballet, and I went to Pam Parry's school, and I fell in love with classical ballet and studied that for many years right through high school, and did jazz as well. But in about grade 5, I was exposed to speech and drama and Jan Skinner's school, and I think that was a big turning point for me to realise that I really enjoy this, and you find your voice and that you can have an opinion and express yourself. And it just went on. That became a love, and I studied through the Australian Guild and went through and did all their diplomas, performance, and it became a passion. Then I thought, okay, this is something I may pursue. But as a child, I loved putting on performances at home. So I would organise my brothers and sisters and dress them up and run a program. I'm thinking maybe innately it was just there all along. Yeah.
Were your parents artistic as well?
Well, my mum liked to sing, but they weren't really doing anything in the arts at that point in time. But I think if we go back on my mum's side, there was singers in the family. So I'm assuming that somewhere along there an interest in theatre and arts has been there. So I just took off with it.
Yeah. And did it just accelerate as you went through your schooling years?
Once I discovered that I had a joy for it, yes, definitely. And I even enjoyed the debating team. I enjoyed being in theatre, working on shows, and that's at an amateur level. But I also realised I loved working with young people and creating and directing and devising works. So when I went from high school into study and then come back, I fell into, I think people approached me, would I do something about it? Would I take their child? Would I do this? And I thought, I think I would love to do that. And the biggest part, I suppose, about when creating the school and working with young people is there's an element where they are able to devise a piece of work. And so with young ones, we tap into their imagination. With the senior students, it's basing it on research. They get a say in, and also you're tapping into their potential. And I think I realised when someone taps into your potential and you believe in what you're doing, a whole world opens up.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there's obviously many different avenues you can go into with the arts, and we're going to talk at some length about the drama school coming up soon. But I'm intrigued as to your focus on that versus some other areas, like, for example, getting involved as a performer? Like, did you think of going to Melbourne or Sydney and then getting 100% into acting in the city?
Would love to have taken those paths, but teaching came up and it was a direction. And I think when I came back and started working, then I also was married and had children. And I think that probably made the direction I went with family and study still. Once I finished the diploma, I went on to do the Bachelor of Education.
Yeah. So where was that?
I did that through Ballarat. Yes.
Right.
So you sort of make those choices and you think, well, that'd be great. But once there was family involved, I think you make those decisions that's important, put time into that, but also be able to work and find ways to be creative here. Yes, so that was one stage even I was speaking with someone from Sydney. They said, you should go to England, Sharyn, and do this work, like even on the directing side. But once you have family, there's all those options you got to weigh up, and that didn't eventuate because I thought that's not going to happen now. So I was very satisfied, and I thought, well, everything's in the right order. Where we are at this point in time in this journey is where I'm meant to be. So I can share my gifts here with your students and people in this community.
Yeah, because it sounds to me like your love of country, your love of the country has played a large part in your decisions. Because obviously, life in Melbourne, it will be very creatively satisfying, I'm sure, or Sydney, but a very different lifestyle.
It's wonderful to visit, and I've made some great connections and networking. I had a wonderful opportunity to be on the steering committee for Australian Theatre for Young People and Sydney Theatre Company as a regional voice for 3 years. And it's lovely to go, obviously COVID hit in the middle of a lot of that, and we would communicate, and it's a privilege to be on a panel where you can see other professionals working, and then you can go. I often take students to Sydney and Melbourne. And I think, well, this is a great place, but I don't think it's where I want to be. But for others, they thrive in it. And I think for me personally, it's important to have someone in our community here that can help our students segue into those pathways to go to university or to go to acting school or things, or even if it's about having the confidence in yourself in your workplace to express your opinion, to be confident in what you're saying. So, yes, that's why I've stayed, I suppose, in this area here. So
you finished your study in Ballarat?
Yes, that was my teaching degree, yes.
Yeah.
And then came back here and then continued to do the Bachelor of Education.
Yes.
And then later on, much later on, about 20 years later, I decided I really want to do a Master's. And the Master's of Education was a research paper in the creative arts and looking at how they can transform learning. I was especially intrigued with boys in the middle years to see if that would engage them. And I got to do a pilot study. It was very exciting because I realised all the work I'm doing, it does engage these people and especially our young boys to want to learn. So it's not just about the acting side, but how you can relate that back into, our literature and English and engaging them in that process. Yeah,
because it's funny because, if I was to just look at your title and your organisation, director of the drama school, Performing Arts and Creative Expression School, I would think of you first and foremost as an actor, as a drama person, but it's equally about teaching, obviously.
Yes.
So do you see yourself more as a teacher or a dramatist, as a creator?
I think it is a blend, and definitely curriculum and the pedagogy is very important, and our mission that we are engaging people in learning and learning a craft and a skill that they can then take on to apply to whatever aspect of their life they're going to go on with. And I love the acting side. I've been involved in that, but I really feel I feel like my purpose is to share my skills and create with young people, and that's where I've sort of taken that, and to develop programs and curriculums that can enable children to access what they have. So that's where I've ended up.
Yeah, and over 40 years, you would have had interactions with what? It would have to be hundreds, maybe
thousands
over thousands,
of
yes, of young people and people of all ages as well. What do you love about what you do?
It's an amazing place to work, I love the people. I have a creative team with me now, so it's not just me on my own. We're a team of 6. So I love the fact that they enrich the school with the gifts and passions that they bring. And part of what I love about that is we've been able, at this point in my time now in my career, I can actually share my skills with them. We have a mentoring program where the younger teachers coming in studying can actually work alongside, and we model the work, and then we sit and develop curriculum. I love the children. I love the enthusiasm that they bring, and that each child is such an individual and so different, but you can tap into their stories. Everyone's got a story and a narrative.
Yeah.
And I love being able to create new work. So to dramaturg that, to get the students to, especially seniors, we look at the writing side as well as developing engaging work on stage. Every day is different, and I think I love that about it. There's no day that you come in, and I always feel that when you walk away from a class, it's so rewarding. It's actually a privilege to work with all these beautiful people.
Yeah, yeah. All right, well, let's go back to 1984. Take me back to that period. So you've finished your primary study, as in you were going on to do a master's, but you finished your main body of study. You've come back to Albury Wodonga. There obviously wasn't something like this operating in the region in 1984, I would imagine.
I would say we probably had, as I remember, Val Edmonds and Jan Skinner were operating their speech and drama schools.
Right.
And I thought it would be lovely to, step into the community and offer what I'd learnt while I was away and come back. So that was the starting point.
Yes.
And probably someone, I think it was a parent, a friend of my mum and dad, that said, would Sharyn take our child on board and work with them? And I thought, yes, this will be great. So it started very, very small, Stephen, with just experimenting, and while I was still working, professionally in the school communities. And from there it just grew, so from one child to 2 and that's working privately with students that can go through exam levels and come out with their own teaching diplomas. But then it started to evolve, which was really exciting, and that's probably one of my philosophies, is that it has to keep evolving and finding different platforms for performance, for study, for work. And we started to venture into group work with young people and taking the programs to schools, as well as establishing in the community the performing arts school.
So, you could have worked as a teacher, right? As in at a school, as a drama teacher.
Which I did. Oh, I could, yes. Though I was speaking before, and we were just saying that in the 80s, drama actually wasn't on like high school curriculums until the late 90s, mid 90s. It started to come in, so there was a gap. Obviously we were teaching drama in primary schools, but we could also look at how we could use drama in literacy. So all those programs came a little bit later on. So yes, there's a gap there that we needed to fill. Obviously there was things happening we've got wonderful theatre companies in our region. Actually, we're very lucky, I think, even over the last 10, 15 years, how much that's grown. For a community to be involved, and we've got musical theatre. We're fortunate we've got Hot House that brings, good professional theatre here as well. So that side's all developed over a long period of time, but initially coming back just to offering, the drama school, I think I saw a need outside of schools as well, where children could access the programs, and it just kept developing and evolving and growing as the needs were being met.
Yeah. Did you have a firm idea? It sounds to me like it was quite organic.
It was very organic, yes.
Yeah.
And as ideas came along, it would just spark the next thing, so it would grow. And so now at this point in time too, over the last 5 to 6 years, we've actually, Nikki Strauss is the vocal coach. She has her own studio, Pink Flamingos, that we work along side by side and have add that element, working with small ensemble groups. So the groups will be no bigger than 15. It can be down to 6, so that we get that ability to still work one-on-one with the students and make sure they're all, getting what the program is offering for them.
Yeah.
And work privately. I work privately with some students as well that wish to pursue exam levels or be involved with the Eisteddfod, which I was very much so as a young person. We went through the Albury Wodonga Eisteddfod was very big. I had the opportunity to go to Sydney, perform at the Opera House, Tasmania, Melbourne when I was younger, and I'm thinking it's great if we can do those things, expose children to the arts.
Yeah. So you work with primary, secondary students, professionals as well. Who are the hardest to deal with?
Well, we're very blessed because the students come because they wish to be there.
Yes.
So that side, it really all you're managing is enthusiasm levels, I think, at sometimes, and scaffolding lessons so students know, the way to be as young actors in a space, what we need to do. But really, discipline is they're there because they want to be there. If they don't want to be there, and that changes the dynamics incredibly.
Yes.
I still think we have to instill in our young people, when we walk into a theatre space and we are training to be young actors and build our craft, there's a way to be and work in that space. And sometimes that would be, which group's the hardest? I think just containing little one's enthusiasm so it's directed and channeled into an activity that has little outcomes there. But I mean, look, that's half the fun, isn't it? When they come into a room and they've got this energy. I think sometimes with your older students, because life does get so busy and they've got things, they may come into the space and be a bit flat. And so your job is to actually lift their energy and bring them in so they are ready to give. And that's the whole idea when we're working. And I don't always work. A lovely part about theatre with young people is I often like to take them maybe to an art gallery to get inspiration and stimulus for devising work. We spent end of last term sitting by the river to do a stream of consciousness of writing, and they were writing letters back to their younger self. There's just these wonderful opportunities. So when they come into the space, they're all amazing. It's just we might have to lift them or we might have to contain just the...
Yeah. It's funny you were talking about younger self there, writing a letter to your younger self. Going back to when you were younger, I would imagine you'd be so satisfied to know that you've had such a long career in an area that you absolutely love, because that's something that not everyone gets to experience. It's
been an amazing journey, and I think to my younger self, I think step outside the comfort zone. Don't let fear hold you back, and if an opportunity arises, take it and follow your heart. It's such a wonderful profession to be working with the next generation of, innovators, creators. I think it's a privilege to actually be that. And, we're ordinary people, but they're all got extraordinary lives ahead. So it's just being able to open up a doorway. I have an example. I have a student. I've just been in New York recently, and Jamie Gaston was a student of mine. She's 19. She always wanted to go to New York, and she's doing musical theatre. And I said, would you want to pinch ourselves, because here you are with the dream that you set out to do. And I feel it's a privilege that you get to guide or just be part of their journey as well. That would be very exciting.
It must give you a fantastic sense of achievement, seeing these young people get out into the world and doing some amazing things.
And I think even if it is, it's absolutely, that's the best part. And I think the other part is that when they come back or they make contact and they tell you the things that are happening in their lives. In our celebration of 40 years, I was just speaking briefly with Ben Colley, and he was here locally, and he's now working in musical theatre in Melbourne, studied at WAPA. And I said, would you come back? And yes, definitely. And I think it's the connections and relationships that you make with these lovely young people along the way too, that it's lasting, and that's a privilege. It's exciting seeing. Even I look at teaching some students, their own children, and they've made their way in the world. And like I said, whether it's that ability to express yourself, whether you've worked out, I'm a writer, I love lighting design, or I'm going to work in this particular, it might be teaching or it might be nursing, but they go away with a confidence to be able to do that job well and know that they're valued and who they are, and their opinions are important. So
can it help anyone dabbling in or having some exposure to drama and the arts? Is it good for everyone, do you think?
Definitely. And I think that's why we see drama has gone into the schools, and I think it's not about, it can get a bit prescriptive but not ticking boxes, but the outcome is it changes you as a person, and you discover so much about yourself and what you're capable of doing.
The confidence thing is such a huge one, isn't it? You were mentioning yourself, you were quiet when you were young.
And it just opens that door, that you can express yourself, that you feel valued, that anything is possible. Anything's possible if you put your imagination and mind to it. And I think that's what drama does. In the quietest of ways, you won't realise that it's happening, but you see children come and they're really, you have those that are really confident and they're just learning how to channel, and there's that are really quiet, and all of a sudden they'll start putting in conversations, or they've got an idea they want to share. And then I think another important part of drama, our young people working in groups, that they have to collaborate, they have to listen, and have to have turns in speaking, in sharing, leadership. It's all those things that we need as life skills that can happen in that space. Yeah. And that's at any age.
Yeah. Well, you certainly don't hear many stories of people saying they've regretted having pushed the boundaries a little bit in terms of what they think they can achieve. So, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it sounds to me like you definitely wouldn't do anything differently if you had your time again.
I don't think I would. I know it was busy. There was busy times with, when you're raising your family and your children and you're juggling study and you're juggling work. But I think we all do that, and busy people get things done, don't they? So you just make that happen. And everything is in the way it should be. I think in the journey, I wouldn't change anything, because you've gained from meeting amazing friends, connecting with people and networking in our community here, to, having and meeting colleagues in Sydney and Melbourne that you connect with. So the journey's been pretty incredible and rewarding. How
did you go about, I mean, you're teaching so many kids, as we're saying, thousands of kids over the journey, but your own children, did they end up pursuing a life in
theatre?
No.
No, not one, actually. They've all gone into different fields, but I'm sure they all had a go.
Three, did you say?
I've got five.
Five.
So one's law, then we've got construction, IT, work design, all that's creative, and marketing to kinesiology, and my youngest is a physiotherapist.
Wow.
But I still feel that across that, they all had an opportunity to be involved with drama. So is it about being able to express yourself in whatever their area is? But no one did ballet. No one.
That's fascinating. But it is interesting that you bring that up, because in each of those areas, really, some of those skills would be a positive in each of those jobs.
Definitely. And being able to think on your feet and, being confident as you are. Recently, my son Andrew was married in the States, and both Emily and Laura presented a speech, and I think, well, I'm sure it's way back there.
Yes.
It was beautiful, and it's from the heart, and I just don't think we can stress enough how much those life skills that filter through in lots of ways.
Yeah. You were talking about the balance there and balancing everything, and with 5 children, I mean, how did you find the balance there?
I think that's a journey in itself, and I'm not saying I would have got that right either. I think have to have time out too, and I think I've learnt that along the way, and I think I'm still learning that journey of balancing things. So obviously all mine are young adults and pursuing their lives, and I'm very proud of them and that legacy of love that continues. The balance is the tricky part. So I've always been one to go walking or Pilates, or I've added meditation, just trying to take that time out, because I can be someone that will just keep working. And that's not necessarily healthy, so you do have to take time.
Yeah.
So we've got such a beautiful area that we live in. We can walk by the river. Recently on the weekend went, caravanning with my partner. We went up to Bright and walked through there. So there are those moments where you can step back. But when they were little, I think it was very busy. It was incredibly that you were trying to run that balancing act, and it wasn't always easy, I would say, Steve. I think Matt was pretty challenging at times. That was a challenge, trying to get the balance right between, family life, work. But I don't know, we just seemed to do it, but it was full on at times. But a good full on, because you wouldn't change it. It's just making that balance and trying to find that balance at times. And now it's probably, everyone's left home. It's still being aware that you need to have the balance between work and life and go and do the nice things as well as, and that's where your friends and family get to visit the grandchildren and those sorts of elements.
How do you like spending your time outside of work? So you said visiting the grandkids and your 5 kids, there'd be a lot of spending time with them and communicating with your children. But what else? You were saying you went out to Bright. I mean, do you enjoy nature? Is that
yes, definitely. Walking by the river, try and do that most mornings, and my partner, we can go boating, caravanning, travel and theatre, going to the theatre. I really enjoy being able to, if I can, locally and Sydney or Melbourne, and I enjoy the galleries. So there's sort of those interests. Reading, I'm thinking I need to pick up another hobby. I was thinking photography has just popped into I've been playing with that a little bit, so that there's something other than just working and preparing, for work. So I've decided that's, But I do love getting out in nature. I think you feel that you calm right down. Feet in the grass, the beach. Love to travel over to the beach and make the time for those sorts of things.
Yeah. Now you started the school in 1984. You've seen a lot of the changes that have happened here in the region. A lot of money and time, expertise and passion has been put into the arts in Albury Wodonga, as it has in a lot of the larger regional centres. How would you assess our arts space in comparison to some other large centres like your Ballarats, your Bendigos, your Waggas?
I think we're very, very, very lucky in Albury Wodonga because we've got, even in our community, people that are so committed to developing and having opportunities for young people to be involved in theatre. We've got, and also Hothouse Theatre have their launch pad. So often I see our students can segue and audition. And so for that we've got many musical productions going on. So we're very lucky. And Entertainment Centre and the Cube are bringing lots of different theatre to our area. So we really can't complain. And even outlying areas like there's a Yakandanda Festival and there's Cora. There's lots of smaller theatre groups that are happening. Yeah. I think it's a real privilege to be here in this community, and if you look, you just have to look and ask, and there's opportunities to attend, be involved, and we're not looking back. We're moving forward all the time.
It is a thriving space, isn't it? And
even
the fruit flies. I mean, to have that here in Albury Wodonga is extraordinary.
And that's grown, and their new building and the work they're doing. But they've done amazing work over the years too. So I feel like we're a little hub and centre for the arts to thrive and continue to do so.
Yeah, because you were talking about the museum. I think you mentioned the museum, Mama.
Oh yes, Mama.
I mean, having Mama here, and
then we've got Hyphen in Wodonga as well. So yes, and a few years back we were actually doing some work. I think it was Art Space back then, and even used Mama as a basis for devising work within there from the work that was on exhibition. So that was an interesting process. So even doing theatre work that's not necessarily in a theatre is, we've got those opportunities. Murray Arts with that. I remember years, this is going way back, we did some street theatre and they had a festival. So there's always been opportunity. It's just, and I think, that's the great part about this opportunity. And if you look for it and open the doors.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting just, we're talking about passion and the people involved in the art space here in our region. Just looking at the people that you work with at the school, like Nikki Strauss.
Yes.
She's one of the most passionate people about the arts and drama that I know, and music as well.
We've got so many. We have. And we've even just recently, I think the Cube's got the Cube Lounge, and they have singers come and you can sit back. So for a couple of hours on a Thursday night once a month. I mean, we can't say there's nothing happening in our area. So, and I think that's important. So when our young people, come into the school, that there's going to be opportunities along the way. Once you get your skill, your craft, or you feel comfortable, then you can start to audition for the different things happening locally. Or like I said, you may end up segueing off to Melbourne or Sydney if that's your passion, if that's what you want to do.
Yes, yeah. Have you had any of those kind of sliding door moments where you could have you definitely could have gone down that road of living and working in the city or doing something different?
I suppose there's been moments, but I've always been drawn to here and probably been committed to what's been happening here. So, and I've made the decision to stay. I think I was just drawn to this area. I think there was a time I thought, maybe Melbourne. But then I don't regret because I've got a great network of colleagues here and friends and family and the business. And I thought, no, the business is here. It's established. This is probably where my roots are and need to be.
Yeah. And as you said, I mean, it's providing an opportunity for young people who may want to go down that road themselves. But, I mean, there's no shortage of similar things in Melbourne. But you're really helping out people in a major way here. I think, Matt, that's what I think.
I'm trying to think when I was, I suppose, deliberating about, would I make change? And I thought there is a need in our community. And there'll always be, organisations, but I feel that there's something worthwhile in having the school in the community, and it's outside of the other schools' environments, but we can complement each other.
Yes.
And I think that's, no matter what's happening, if you're complementing other, organisations, businesses, then you can only go forward in a really good direction of supporting, and it's really our youth that we want to be supporting.
Yeah. How quickly is the 40 years gone?
Yes,
it is the anniversary this year. You started
it's very exciting. We were just talking about maybe contacting past students too, so they might like to come back at the end of the year. We have a production every year for juniors and seniors in early December. We thought, wouldn't it be wonderful if we could get the past students to come back? But how quickly? It has flown now when you sit back and look at it and think, is it really 40 years that we've been established and working in the area? And just like that, it has gone on very quickly.
And what about the next 5 or 10 years?
My next 5 or 10 years, I would hope that we continue to grow our creative team and the mentoring program and be in this area, allowing more people, that there's a possibility with more of a team that we can have more classes for our young people. It feels like it's in a really good place. So just moving forward, if it continues, as it is, but I think there's always, I always think it's lovely to evolve and offer other avenues as well. So that's where I would think, just to keep being creative, thinking outside the box. What else can we do to help our young people here in this region?
Yeah, terrific. All right, well, let's wrap it up. We've got our traditional last few questions, and this is actually this is right up your alley. So I'm expecting big things here. Have you got any recommendations for us for things to watch or read?
I'll read. I've just finished reading The Dictionary of Lost Words by Pip Williams, which was brilliant, and reading Homecomings now by Kate Morton, which is a historical fiction murder mystery.
I love historical fiction.
It's very good.
Set when?
Set starts in 1959, then flips forward to 2018, and the stories cross over. So I'm really enjoying that at the moment.
Terrific.
And a good Australian drama humour. Kitty Flanagan's in Fisk. I don't know if you've seen it on ABC.
No, I haven't. I love Kitty Flanagan though. She's
just in this lawyer firm. She's
hilarious.
That's to give you a bit of a laugh.
Great.
If need be.
Are you a sweet or a savoury person these days?
I'm a bit of both, but I do like chocolate, so that's probably my little downfall, dark chocolate. So.
And last question, when you think of kind of interesting things, if someone's coming to Albury Wodonga and you say, right, you should do this, what are your must-do activities?
My must-do activities. I think we're very blessed with beautiful wineries and food around the area. You could drive off to All Saints, and so that would be a must-do. Discover a lovely winery and have a nice lunch, Posh Blanc, or I don't know. There's so many to do, and I think a must-do walk along our river bank now. It's just so beautiful there, or a picnic out by the weir. We can't go too far wrong with being set in nature. I think go water skiing if you want to, hiking up Nail Can. There's lots to do in this area.
Absolutely. Sharyn, it's been wonderful to talk with you and share your journey. It's been absolutely fascinating. 40 years, it is the anniversary of the Sharyn Hill School of Performing Arts and Creative Expression. So congratulations.
Thank you so much. I feel very grateful to be here today and privileged, and grateful that we've made the 40 years. It's that sense of joy to be able to celebrate the journey and have been a part of so many young people's lives.
Yeah,
on that
wonderful
journey.
achievement. Thank you for sharing your journey today.
Thank you very much, Matt. Thank you.